Dr. Maya Reeves had sworn off dating after her last disaster, a securities trader who turned out to be running a Ponzi scheme. 6 months of therapy and one restraining order later, she'd thrown herself into her work at the Mars Colonial Museum, cataloging artifacts from Earth's pre-war period. Safe, quiet, no drama. Then she literally ran into him at the veterinary clinic. Maya had adopted a stray Martian sand cat, a genetically modified feline designed to survive the harsh desert conditions outside the domes. Copper, she'd named him for his distinctive russet fur. But Copper had gotten into something toxic in her HAB unit's recycling system, and she'd rushed him to the nearest clinic at 2 a.m., terrified and crying. The vet on call had been impossibly handsome. Tall, with warm brown eyes and gentle hands that had calmed both Copper and Maya within minutes. His name badge read Dr. James Castellan, and he'd worked on her cat with focused intensity while explaining everything he was doing in a soothing voice. "He's going to be fine," Dr. Castellan had assured her 3 hours later, Copper purring weakly in his carrier. "Keep him hydrated, follow the medication schedule, and bring him back in a week for a checkup. Thank you so much." Maya had been exhausted, relieved, and suddenly very aware that she probably looked terrible. No makeup, hair a mess, wearing pajamas under her emergency coat. "I was so scared. He's my first pet and I didn't know what to do. You did exactly right by bringing him in immediately." His smile had been warm, genuine. "Most people wait too long. You probably saved his life." She'd thanked him again, paid the emergency fee, and left, only to realize halfway home that she'd forgotten to ask about follow-up care instructions. When she'd gone back the next day, Dr. Castellan had remembered her. "Maya, right, how's Copper doing?" "Much better, actually. He ate this morning and his color looks good." She'd felt herself blushing. "I, forgot to get the care instructions last night." "No problem, let me print those for you." He'd moved to the computer, and Maya had noticed he wasn't wearing a wedding ring. "You know, Martian sand cats are fascinating creatures. They're one of the few genetic modifications that actually improved on the original design. Better adapted to low gravity, more efficient kidneys, enhanced night vision." They'd ended up talking for 20 minutes about genetics, Mars colonization, and the ethics of creating new species for new worlds. When she'd finally left, he'd called after her. "Maya, would you maybe want to grab coffee sometime? Not as a vet-client thing, just as two people who clearly both love talking about obscure science." She'd said yes before her brain could interfere. 3 months later, Maya was falling hard. James was everything her ex hadn't been: kind, stable, passionate about his work. He treated animals with genuine compassion and talked about his patients like they were family. They'd fallen into an easy rhythm: dinners at small restaurants, long walks through the agricultural domes, quiet evenings watching old Earth movies. He'd met her friends. She'd met his colleagues. It felt real and solid and wonderfully normal. The only thing was that he never talked about his family. Whenever Maya brought up parents or siblings, James would deflect with a joke or change the subject. She'd chalked it up to family drama. Lots of people had complicated relationships with their relatives. She didn't push until her father came to visit. General Marcus Reeves, retired but still carrying himself like he commanded rooms just by entering them, arrived on Mars for a week-long military consultation. Maya had been dreading it. Her father was overprotective, suspicious of everyone, and had strong opinions about her life choices. I want to meet this boyfriend of yours, he'd announced over dinner their first night together. Dad, I don't think. You've been seeing him for 3 months. That's serious enough for me to vet him. Vet him. He's not a security threat, he's a veterinarian. Everyone's a potential security threat until proven otherwise. Her father's tone brooked no argument. Dinner tomorrow night, here, non-negotiable. Maya had warned James that her father could be intense, but James had just laughed. I've handled nervous pet owners during emergency surgery. I think I can manage one protective father. He'd arrived exactly on time, bringing flowers for Maya and a bottle of expensive whiskey for her father, good manners that earned a grudging nod from the general. Dinner started well. James was charming, polite, answering questions about his work with enthusiasm. Her father seemed to relax slightly. Then came dessert. So, James, General Reeves said casually, cutting into his synthetic apple pie. What did you do before veterinary medicine? I've always been a vet, sir. It's all I ever wanted to do. Is that right? Her father's tone was still casual, but Maya recognized the interrogation mode. Where'd you train? University of New Houston. Graduated top of my class, specialized in xenobiology and genetic modifications. Impressive, and after graduation, private practice for a few years on Luna Station, then I transferred here to Mars about 18 months ago. Luna Station. Her father took a sip of whiskey. Ever work with military animals? The Alliance has several xenobiology programs up there. Not directly with the military, no, mostly private clients. Maya relaxed slightly. The conversation seemed to be going fine. Her father pulled out his tablet and turned it toward James. On the screen was a photo of a man who looked almost exactly like James, but in military uniform, officer's insignia, special operations patch. Funny thing, General Reeves said quietly. Because this man, Captain James Castellan, Alliance Special Operations, Xenobiology Warfare Division, worked extensively with military applications. According to his service record, he's currently on classified assignment, deep cover. The blood drained from James's face. Dad, Maya stared at the photo, then at James, her mind refusing to connect the dots. What are you doing? That's not, it can't be. It is. Her father's voice was ice. I ran a background check like I do with everyone who gets close to my daughter. Imagine my surprise when James's veterinary credentials checked out perfectly, but his fingerprints matched a classified military operative. James, or whoever he really was, set down his fork carefully. His entire demeanor had changed. The gentle vet was gone, replaced by something harder, more dangerous. General Reeves, I can explain. I'm sure you can. Starting with why a special ops captain is pretending to be a civilian vet and dating my daughter. Maya felt like she was in free fall. James, what is he talking about? James turned to her and she saw genuine anguish in his eyes. Maya, I'm sorry. I wanted to tell you so many times, but I couldn't. I'm still active duty. The vet clinic is my cover while I work on a classified project. Classified project? Her voice rose. You've been lying to me for 3 months. Not lying. The clinic is real. I am a licensed veterinarian. Everything I told you about my training was true, except the part where you're actually a military operative. Her father's voice was deadly calm. What's the mission, Captain? What's so important you had to deceive my daughter? I can't disclose that, sir. You know how classification works. I know that using civilians as cover without their knowledge violates about 15 different Alliance regulations. The general stood, and suddenly the comfortable family dinner transformed into a confrontation between two soldiers. I also know that my daughter doesn't deserve to be manipulated. I wasn't manipulating her. James stood too, his own military bearing now evident. I met Maya by accident. Copper really was sick, that was completely genuine, and I asked her out because I liked her, not because of any mission objective. But you didn't tell her the truth. I couldn't. Do you know what happens to operatives whose covers get blown, to the people they care about? James's voice cracked slightly. I kept Maya out of it specifically to protect her. By lying to her every day for 3 months, Maya found her voice, though it shook. Every dinner, every walk, every time you talked about your patients and your practice, all of it was a lie. The feelings weren't a lie. James turned to her desperately. Maya, please, everything between us was real. The only thing I couldn't tell you was my day job. Your day job? You're not filing paperwork, James. Your special operations. What do you even do? Silence. He can't tell you, her father said quietly. Because special ops xenobiology warfare means he's probably working on biological weapons or countermeasures, classified at the highest levels. The room spun. Maya grabbed the table for support. Biological weapons? You mean like? You could be creating diseases, killing people. I'm trying to save people, James said urgently. There are threats out there, things the public doesn't know about. Don't. Maya held up a hand, tears streaming down her face. Don't try to justify this. You made me fall for you while lying about who you are. Do you have any idea how that feels? After what I went through with my ex, I swore I'd never let anyone deceive me again. And you? Maya, I love you. The words hung in the air. I love you, James repeated, his voice breaking. I know I should have told you sooner, found some way to explain, but I was terrified of losing you. And now I have anyway, and it's my own fault. General Reeves watched them both with the calculating gaze of a career military man. Captain Castellan, step outside with me, now. Dad, don't. This is between soldiers now, Maya. Give us 10 minutes. James followed the general out onto the balcony. Through the glass, Maya could see them talking. Her father's posture rigid and aggressive, James's defensive but not backing down. At one point, James pulled out what looked like military credentials, showing them to her father. Maya sank into her chair, trying to process everything. The sweet, gentle vet who'd saved Copper and made her laugh was actually a military operative working on classified biological projects. Everything she'd thought she knew about him was contaminated with lies and half-truths. But he'd said he loved her. And despite everything, despite the betrayal, part of her wanted that to be true. The men came back inside 15 minutes later. Her father looked grim but slightly less hostile. Maya, the general said carefully. James has shown me his mission parameters. I can't tell you details, but I can confirm he's working on defensive countermeasures, not offensive weapons. And his cover assignment, the veterinary clinic, is real. He's genuinely treating animals while maintaining his cover. That's supposed to make me feel better. No, but it should help you understand he wasn't using you. Her father sat down heavily. He broke protocol by getting involved with you. By all rights, I should report him and have him reassigned, but he's asking me not to. Maya looked at James, who stood with military rigidity but civilian vulnerability in his eyes. Why? Because I don't want to leave you, James said simply. I know I screwed up. I know I should have found a way to tell you sooner or never gotten involved in the first place. But I can't regret meeting you, Maya. Even if you hate me now, even if this ends everything between us, I can't regret it. You lied to me every single day. I withheld classified information, yes, but everything else was real. My feelings for you, the conversations we had, the future I imagined with you, all real. How am I supposed to trust that? How am I supposed to know what's real and what's your cover story? James pulled something from his pocket, a small data chip. This is my personal journal, not mission logs, not reports, just my private thoughts. It's against protocol to keep one, but I did anyway. He set it on the table in front of her. Read it. Everything from the night I met you until now. You'll see that I was struggling with the deception, trying to figure out how to tell you, falling in love with you despite knowing it was a terrible idea. Maya stared at the chip like it might explode. I'll leave it with you, James continued. And I'll give you time to decide if you can forgive me. If you can't, if this is too much, I'll accept that and walk away. But please know that loving you was the most honest thing I've done in 2 years of deep cover work. He turned to her father. General Reeves, I'm requesting that you not report my protocol violations. Not for my sake, but for the mission. I'm close to a breakthrough that could save thousands of lives. Give me 3 more months to complete it, then I'll request reassignment and come clean to my superiors. Her father was silent for a long moment. 3 months, but you tell my daughter everything you're cleared to tell her. No more secrets that aren't absolutely mission critical. Agreed. And if you hurt her again, Captain, classification won't protect you from me. Clear. Crystal clear, sir. They stood there, 2 military men who understood duty and sacrifice, while Maya tried to reconcile the man she'd fallen for with the operative standing before her. I need time, she said finally. I need to think about this, read the journal, figure out if I can handle dating someone whose job involves secrets I'm not allowed to know. Take all the time you need, James said softly. I'll be at the clinic if you want to talk, or not talk, or throw things at me, whatever you need. He left, and Maya was alone with her father. You like him, she accused. General Reeves sighed. I respect him. He's a good soldier in a difficult position, and despite the deception, I believe he genuinely cares about you. But you need to decide if you can live with the secrets. Military relationships are hard enough. Special operations relationships are harder. There will always be things he can't tell you, missions that take him away without explanation, dangers you won't know about until they're over, if ever. Maya picked up the data chip. Mom managed it with you. Your mother was military herself. She understood the life. Her father's expression softened. You're civilian, Maya. You didn't sign up for this. It's okay if you decide you can't do it. That night, Maya read James's journal. It started the night they'd met. Saved a sand cat tonight. Owner was terrified but handled it well. Smart, beautiful, completely genuine. Wanted to ask for her number, but it would be inappropriate. And dangerous for her if anyone connected her to me. It continued through their first date. Broke protocol today. Asked Maya Reeves to coffee. I shouldn't have, but I couldn't help it. She makes me remember what it's like to be a person instead of just an operative. Entry after entry detailed his growing feelings, his guilt over the deception, his fear of losing her, his struggle to balance mission requirements with personal ethics. The most recent entry, written the day before, General Reeves is Maya's father. I'm dead. But at least I'll finally be able to tell her the truth, even if it means losing her. She deserves better than a veterinarian who's actually a spy. She deserves someone who can be completely honest. I hope she finds him, even though the thought of it kills me. Maya cried reading it, not because it excused the lies, but because it proved he'd been as conflicted as she felt now. 2 weeks later, she showed up at the clinic after hours. James was in the back, cleaning equipment. He looked thinner, like he hadn't been sleeping. "Hi," she said. He spun around, hope and fear warring on his face. "Maya, I read the journal, all of it. And I'm still angry that you lied. I'm still scared about what your real job means. I'm still not sure I can handle dating someone with your level of clearance and danger." She stepped closer. "But I also know that you were honest about everything that mattered. Your feelings were real, your struggle was real, your love was real." "It is real," James said fiercely. "Still real, will always be real." "Then we need ground rules. When you can tell me something, you do. When you can't, you say, that's classified and I don't push. No more omissions that aren't absolutely necessary. No more separate lives. I can agree to that. And in 3 months, when your mission ends, you request reassignment to something less classified. I can't do this long term with someone who has to lie for a living." James nodded. "Already planning to. This was supposed to be my last deep cover assignment anyway. After this, I was going to request a teaching position at the military academy." "Teaching what?" "Xenobiology. Ethics in biological warfare. How to use science to protect instead of destroy." He smiled slightly. "Turns out falling in love with a museum curator who specializes in humanities pre-war artifacts really changes your perspective on violence." Maya moved closer, close enough to touch. "My dad likes you, by the way. Says you're the first person I've dated with actual integrity." "Your dad terrifies me." "Good, he should." She reached up and kissed him, tasting salt and relief. "I'm still mad at you. I know. And we have a lot to work through. I know. But I love you too, against my better judgment, despite the lies, in spite of everything. I love you." James pulled her close, and for the first time in 2 weeks, Maya felt like she could breathe properly. "I'll spend the rest of my life earning your trust back," he promised. "You'd better, because my dad wasn't kidding about the threats." They stood in the quiet clinic, surrounded by the cages and medical equipment of his cover life, holding onto something more real than any mission or secret. She'd thought he was just a charming veterinarian. Her dad had said wrong man, wrong profession, wrong truth, wrong everything. But somehow, impossibly, he was also the right man. The one worth fighting for, worth forgiving, worth building a future with despite the complications. 3 months later, Captain James Castellan completed his mission, requested reassignment, and officially came out of deep cover. He married Dr. Maya Reeves in a small ceremony attended by her father, who gave a speech about duty, honor, and the courage it takes to choose love over lies. And Copper, the Martian sand cat who'd started it all, served as ring bearer. Some stories, Maya reflected, began with deception but ended with truth. This was one of them.